Everyone. You're all bundled up back there. It's nice we have a big group because we can kind of keep warm together. Look at him in his short sleeves here. I woke up this morning and I thought, okay, this is Sunday, so I began to think about what I wanted to talk to you about, and just kind of wrap my brain around how things would play out, and get ready mentally and emotionally and spiritually. All the while in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, today is Pie Day. Oh, Pie and I, we go way back. I can tell you events that I've shared with Pie and experiences I've had with Pie. You could say I have a history with Pie. But I'm going to put that history aside. I'm going to not think about my past with Pie or the pies that await us in the not too distant future, and just come into the present moment. This eternal now. I hope you'll join me. And together we can remember who we are. We can remember that we are eternal beings. We are pure consciousness in expression. We are transcendent beings, actually. And we have the ability, if we choose, to transcend this physical material experience. We have the ability to not be beholden to our past, even yesterday, and not be pulled along or hooked by our perceived future. We have the ability to step out of our emotions, to step out of our thinking, our programming, and to connect with this transcendent essence we call God. And when we do that, then we have the ability to bring this unmanifest God into expression in our lives and in the world. Doesn't that sound great? Most people don't know that. Most people aren't aware that they are filled with unlimited possibilities. They're not aware that they're filled with all of the potential of the universe. They aren't aware that their own thinking and feelings and vibrational energies within them, they're not aware that their mindset creates their experience. So they live their lives with programming that's based on the senses, the tastes and the smells, those kind of things. And so they keep doing the same actions and getting the same results, and then they wonder why life is kind of a drag, kind of empty. Why doesn't it change? Why doesn't it get better? So maybe they become disenchanted and disillusioned, maybe even fearful or afraid or bitter or resentful, and looking outside themselves for someone or something to blame is so easy and so attractive. But we in Unity know that we can transcend sense consciousness, as we call it. Right? This physical material realm, the 1% that seems so real that we were talking about last week. We know that we can lift ourselves into a new, expansive experience of life, one that is founded and grounded in God, this transcendent essence. The thing is, living in this earthly experience, this expression, it's easy to get distracted by this physical material realm, isn't it? To get attached to those outer things and to rely on this sense consciousness that seems so real, but it's so temporary. Like pie. Oh, darn. That which we eat and we drink is so temporary. The Master Teacher Jesus said, don't worry about what you're going to eat, what you're going to drink. He said, is not life more than food? Yeah, it is, a lot. But it's easy to get distracted by the physical, by possessions and money and things like that, what we're going to wear. But Jesus said, don't store up for yourself treasures on earth where moth and rust destroy. Store up for yourself treasures in heaven. But it's easy to get attached to things, even people, even flesh and blood. But Jesus said, who is my mother? And who are my brothers? That's a big one, isn't it? Something to meditate on. It's easy to identify with the outer world, and it's easy to put our beliefs and our faith in these physical material things, like institutions and banks and companies and countries and states and banners and flags and labels. But Jesus said, render unto Caesar what is Caesar's. Basically, if you want to look at the physical, look at the physical. You can play that game, but there's no power in it. Staring at things, placing our attention and our beliefs in this physical material realm is like staring at the reflection of a mountain in a lake. You ever done that? You guys did that up in Alaska? Staring at the reflection of a mountain in a lake. Oh, isn't it beautiful? Yes, it's beautiful. Isn't it fascinating? Yes, I can hardly take my eyes off of it. Isn't it great? Isn't it powerful? No. It's a reflection. Look up, turn around, there's an entire mountain range in back of you. Focusing on the physical material and expecting it to protect you. Thinking that a person is going to save you, an institution or a concept or a preference is going to make things better is what the ancients called idolatry in the Old Testament. I talk about it in my book. It's the second commandment. Staring at mere likenesses, images, reflections, what are you going to get? You're going to get more reflections, not which is real. So I want to encourage you, whatever's going on in your life this morning, to take your attention off of the physical and place it on the spiritual. If it's a financial situation, know that money is not your God. Money is not your source. Take your attention off of that which seems so real and place it on the unreal. If it's a condition in your body, know that you are not your body. Just go within, connect with your source, and consistently affirm, God, the universal energy, is my energy. You want to say that? God, the universal energy, is my energy. God, the one power, is my power. You want to say that? God, the one power, is my power. That's where your strength and your vitality come from. If you're looking at the conditions of the world or the conditions of our country, you're staring at a reflection. Look up. Turn around. There's an entire mountain range sustaining you and supporting you. You understand what I'm saying? We found out a few weeks ago with the election just how strong this fixation on the physical really is. There are many people looking toward the physical realm for answers, for solution. They're looking for a person to save them. They think that implementing a certain set of rules or procedures is going to make things better. Oh, my fellow lunatics, we have a lot of work to do. Because we know that beyond this physical material realm is that which lasts. Yes, that which is eternal, that which empowers us and enriches us from within. I heard a lot of the commentators say that people want change. They want real, genuine change. Real? Genuine? Well, real, genuine change is possible, and real, genuine power is possible, but it's not going to come from staring at a reflection. It can only come from connecting with that transcendent essence we call God. And you know that, don't you? Down deep in your heart, don't you? So we have an opportunity, you and I. We have an opportunity to turn swords of divisiveness into plowshares of healing. We have an opportunity to share and to live the truth that we know, that in order to change your life, in order to change the country, to transform the country, in order to change the world, you have to go within. It all starts within, and remembering who God is and what life is really all about. It all begins within. It begins by stepping out of our emotions, stepping out of our thinking, stepping out of that programming, extracting ourselves from the chaos and the competition, and connecting with that transcendent essence we call God, the one power. In order to do that, that means taking a really clear look at ourselves. When we connect with the invisible essence, then we can have clear thoughts and clear emotions and a clear understanding of what's real and what is fleeting, what is grounded in God, the one power, and what is simply a powerless reflection. That means taking a really close look at your thoughts, your feelings, your beliefs, your ideas. That's why we come here on Sunday mornings. So we can remember the truth about God and the truth about life and the truth about ourselves. And then in our personal time, our quiet time, we listen to that still small voice that leads us and guides us and helps us to make choices based on that truth. For example, all month long we've been talking about abundance. It's really important that we understand that abundance is not about money. It's about the flow of divine energy in and through our lives. That's a big switch from the way the world presents abundance. On the first Sunday of the month, my talk was entitled The Blessing of Generosity, and I shared with you how the word generosity, which most people think is all about money, actually originally meant of noble birth. It has the same roots as gender and genetics, and if you missed that talk, you can watch it on YouTube. But to be generous was a way of complying with nobility. So since we're children of the King, sons and daughters of the Most High, members of the I Am family, the most exalted family in the universe, it behooves us to allow this divine energy to flow through us and out into the world. That's generosity. That's a big switch from the way generosity is presented in the world, isn't it? On the second Sunday, my talk was about the 3 steps to true prosperity. It's important for us to understand that prosperity is not about material possessions. Prosperity, it comes from the word prospero, which means according to your highest aspiration. Of course, we know aspiration is the noun of the verb aspire. Aspire literally means to breathe into. To breathe into. Breathing. That's not struggling, is it? Breathing is calming and healing, isn't it? That's not striving. That's not trying to make anything happen. So being prosperous is literally breathing into the feeling of having all needs met, all desires fulfilled, our highest aspiration fulfilled. That's a big switch from the way the world thinks about prosperity, isn't it? So just in this study of abundance that we've been doing, we've been detaching from that which is temporary. We've been getting clear about words like generosity and prosperity when they're understood in the holistic context of God, the infinite, invisible. We've been stepping out of ideas that we grew up with that seem so normal, but they're based on the physical material realm. So we're talking, you could call that the material way of living. And we're talking about connecting with the spiritual way of living, God's way. Does that sound good? Great. Well, I know I've given you a lot to think about this morning, but I wanted to share one thing. Actually, my talk's about grateful from the get-go. And I wanted to share with you a realization that came to me in a very powerful way several years ago. And it was at the Thanksgiving table at my parents' house. I've told you about holidays with my family were a big deal. And we'd have 20, 25 people sitting around the table. And my mom, Mama Jean, was known for her pie baking. There I am with my pie history. And so we had quite a spread. And this was Thanksgiving of 1989. 1989 was a difficult year for my family. And actually, my grandfather made his transition then at age 92, playing poker. That's another story for another time. But he was my namesake, Lorna Terrence McDaniel. So I was named after him. But in 1989, let's just say some of my family members, quite a few, were going through some traumatic events in their lives. And so there were a lot of people missing from the table. Maybe you've experienced that, and you can feel it, right? It just feels kind of, there's like a pall on the whole thing, kind of sad and depressed and everything. And my mother a lot of times would, not every time, but she did it this time. She said, okay, before we start, let's all go around the table and say what we're thankful for. And I thought, really? This time, we have to go around and find something to be thankful so we're going to listen to people kind of make things up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm happy for the sunshine, because we were just weren't feeling it. Here's the thing. My life was actually going really, really well. And I was in Nashville. Everything was really flowing. Had a song on hold with Roseanne Cash, who was at the top of the charts. Tanya Tucker had taken one of my songs in the recording studio, was recording it during the holidays. Had a lot of opportunities. Money was flowing. My health was good. And I thought, okay, this feels really weird, because I'm doing really good and they're not feeling so good. And kind of reminded me of the last couple of weeks. A lot of people feeling great, and a lot of people really not feeling great. And I thought, wow, what am I going to do? And so as I sat there and everyone was saying thank you for the grass and everything, and trying to find something to be thankful for, my heart just opened up. My vision became so clear, and everything just seemed like it was just alive. And I heard this voice say, gratitude doesn't have to be attached to things. You don't have to be grateful for something. You can just be grateful. Just feel grateful. And right then I began to feel grateful. Some of you are shaking your heads. It's kind of like that Marcy Shimoff book, Be Happy for No Reason. Be grateful just for being grateful. And it was a very powerful moment for me. And I tried to express it to everybody in a very awkward way, but I think all of you understand what I'm saying. As we enter into this time of Thanksgiving, be grateful, not attached to what's going on in your life or what's going on in the world, but just allow yourself to come into that feeling, that atmosphere, that experience of being grateful. And you know what? That vibrates out from you and has an effect on your life, and has an effect on our country and on our world. Bless each one of you. Happy Thanksgiving. We're going to go into a quiet time now. We usually have a time of contemplation to think about what's been said, but I'd like to just have a time of meditation for you to experiment with this feeling of gratitude, just to allow it to permeate your entire being. I always like to put both feet on the floor because I feel more grounded that way. I always like to uncross my arms and just have that opportunity for the divine energy to flow. That's up to you. If you want to close your eyes, I'm just going to play in the background for a few minutes here and give a few suggestions maybe. So just take a deep breath. Allow it to just fill your heart washing over your organs, down into your torso, down into your legs, just grounding you. Breathe in. And you might want to even say, I am grateful. And if your mind wanders, if it seeks to attach it to any person or anything, just gently pull it back, pull it away from that. Not beholden to the past, not hooked by the future. And just breathe in. I am grateful. Take a deep breath. Allow it to fill your heart area. Wash over your organs, down into your torso, and down through your legs, grounding you. I am grateful. And just take a deep breath, and when you're ready, you can come back to the room. Is everyone back? Here come the lights.